Hi, everybody. It's Matthew of Mr. Domestic here for this live stream Q&A session on growing social media and business of crafting and sewing. Yay! So I'm going to just do a real quick check to make sure that the technology is working. And I see it's working over here. And then let me make sure that it's working over here on YouTube and on Facebook. Really quick, is it streaming? There we are. Dun, 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 dun. It's working. So, thank you all for joining or tuning in later or asking questions ahead of time for me to discuss this topic. Those of you who know me know that I love sharing information, and my general philosophy in life is that I feel that there is enough success out there for everyone. There's enough greatness out there for everyone. And instead of feeling like we need to covet and hold all of our secrets in, I just feel like if we just shared them all and all tried to lift each other up, then like the world will be a happier place. So this is my way of trying to do that. So let's see what's going over here. Hi, y'all. At this point, I'm assuming that the volume and everything is working great. And why I wanted to segment this one from the last one. The last one that I did was super duper awesome. The participation was great. The feedback was awesome. I think that anyone who wants to have a business in crafting and sewing should have it. And I'm more than willing to help y'all, but there are always a bunch of questions about social media. And a lot of times when I get the questions just in general about growing social media, uh, I not that I question it, but I want to know the intention behind it because it shouldn't be the first focus. If you're trying to grow a business, especially, you don't start with, hey, let's grow my social media. There are other things that you would need to do. And that's what I want to share here in the perspective and realm of business. But if you're here just to learn how to grow social media, like for personal reasons, that's totally cool too. Some of these tips and tricks might work. So the first thing is what I feel social media is in this world. There are two different segments. One segment of social media is like where you interact with people, and that is like Facebook, that is Instagram, that is Twitter. I fail to see the value proposition in Twitter for crafting and sewing. It just doesn't seem like there are a lot of that demographic of people using Twitter in that way. So I don't focus on that. And then there's another area of social media that I have segmented into like a search engine, which is YouTube and Pinterest. So those are the four that in this chat that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about Instagram. I'm assuming a bunch of y'all, even though you're on YouTube and Facebook right now, a lot of y'all are curious about Instagram. That seems to be the dominant social media platform that's used with quilters and sewists and crafters. And then Facebook. And then on the other one, it's going to be YouTube and Pinterest, which is super duper relevant, but I haven't tackled that one, but I kind of know how to do it. So let me just see who all is here. Hi, Daniela. Hi, Florence. Hi, Isabel. Hi, Terry. Thanks for coming. This is fun. Like, it's like we're hanging out and having fun. It's really lovely. And then let me see over on YouTube. Hi, Amadi. Hi, Kat. Hi, Hillary. Hi, Yvonne. So if y'all have any questions, then just throw them out there now. I got a couple ahead of time, and I'm going to address them. And there's enough content with these specific questions for me to just chat. Hi, Terry, lurking in the background. Yay! It's not lurking, it's participating. And look, I've got my little coffee cup ready. My crazy cat lady coffee cup. I'm gonna drink some. And my water. And so this first question that I wanted to address is a great question. And I'm going to caveat all of this and y'all are probably aware since it's like y'all are watching me, but this is totally my opinion. Like, I'm not an expert in social media. I just feel like I have a more than intermediate grasp of it. And I've seen a lot of growth whenever I've focused and done some of these things. So I'm just sharing my opinion. You might have differing opinions, and it's totally fine, but I'm pretty strong in how I use it, in my opinion. So that's where all of this is based on. So this is about Kirsten, who asked, can you translate followers into a business? Love this question. Love this question. And why I love it is because I feel like people focus too much on followers. And that's me saying that with 35,000 Instagram followers. On Facebook, there's 1,500 people who like my page. But I don't use those as my primary metrics. That's not my metric. Like in business, if you have a business account, which if you're trying to run a business, you need to have a business account on Facebook and on Instagram. So you need to convert those. But my metrics are all about my blog. I direct everyone to my blog. That is my hub for everything. And if you are dialed into all of my social media, the different ones, you'll see that I always link directly to my blog. I tell people go there. I think people who have been following me for a while know to go to my blog, but those are the metrics that I use for my growth. And I know this isn't social media, but this is how I've integrated it. And why I use that and I look at that is because those are the people who have dialed in and invested. They've gone, like, if let's say that, like, this interweb right now, this is what we're doing. This is like a microcosm. Actually, it's a macrocosm. It's a different world, essentially. And let's say you go to a party and that party is Facebook and you're hanging out there. But then you're like, you know what? I really dig you. I want to hang out more. And then, like, I invite you over to my house. So that's how I view my blog. So those people who have either subscribed to my blog or subscribed to my newsletter, I feel like they're a little bit more invested in my information. And I would, not necessarily as a consumer, but someone who wants to know what's going on with me. So those are my metrics. So why I say that is because that's irrespective of how many followers I have. And this is why it's I always ask people what your intention is whenever you want to grow your followers, because if you're not able to convert them, and that's another question that she asked, if you're not able to convert those into sales or to being a consumer or have them really invested in you, then you don't know, right? It would be hard for you to establish a business. So I feel, yes, you can translate it. But for me, you have to work at it, and you have to convert those into being a potential customer. It doesn't just happen naturally because you have a bajillion followers. Those are essentially just for Instagram, for me, those 35,000 people that have checked in to me on Instagram. I don't know why they follow me. Like, why do y'all follow me? I don't know. I assume because I'm funny and I'm real and authentic. I do cool projects. But there might be people on there that just like the aesthetic of my Instagram page and aren't there necessarily to either buy fabric or want to sew. They just are there for a different reason. And so I don't know that. So that's my opinion of followers. And it's different than some people have. I know some people who use, and these are like business people that use like Instagram followers as their primary metric. And I just don't agree with that. That doesn't make sense to me because I'm not able to convert them. And so that was that part of the question. It was a little long-winded there, and I kind of went on a tangent, but when growing your social media, you need to have perspective on it. And why I say this is because let's say you're wanting to start a business and you have 100 followers, 500 followers, 1,000 followers. That shouldn't preclude you from starting a business. You can totally start a business. If you can find a way to transport those followers into being customers in some way, then you're better off than someone who has 60,000 followers and is doing nothing with them. So that's why I wanted to get perspective there. Let's see what's going on here. So Amity, you asked that, and I think, did I answer your question, Amity, about that? My opinion on growing social media. And I can expound on that further. So her full question, and I think I touched on that a little bit, was I always assumed that one of the first steps to growing an online business would be to grow your following on social media. Can you talk a little more about your opinion? So yes, she said, yes, I answered it. But I want to add to that by sharing my beginning. That this is all like, I'm like an accidental like fabric designer, accidental like pattern maker. This was all an accident. I wasn't expecting it. But since I have a business brain, I was quickly able to pivot the way that I was approaching social media and turn it into a business because I saw what was going on with my brand. And whenever I first started it, it was super duper social. Even when I got on Instagram, it uh, was me putting my pictures. I just wanted to put my sewing pictures somewhere. I didn't want them on Facebook. Didn't want to do a blog. Wasn't at the point of even thinking about that. I just wanted like a little place that people could go and see all of my sewing pictures. And then I saw what was going on, and I found this community, and I learned that there could be a business. And at that point, that's when, and this is when, if you haven't seen my previous video, I'm not going to talk about a lot of the stuff that I talked about there, but that's when I decided to come up with a business plan and figure out what my brand identity was, and then determine how I wanted to impact social media. And I'm going to go on a little tangent here. But this is something that all of you need to think about. And this would be the one thing that I would suggest you think about before you go full force into trying to penetrate social media is at the time that I realized that I was going to use social media to create a business in sewing and crafting, I scoured the market. And by market, it's like, who are all of the people who successfully have businesses using social media? And in that, I tried to find a place that I could penetrate. And by penetrate, it's like, where could I enter? Is there a hole that's missing? Is there something that I could bring that no one else is bringing? And at that point, I decided that what I bring is my personality. That's what's different. I didn't see me, the personality, the authentic version of me. Not that tutorials and other people who have business are any less than. I'm not saying that it's less than, but what I'm saying is that I felt that the industry needed someone who's over the top to where I could be myself and be authentic and people would respond to that. So I knew that me as a brand was going to be based on my personality. And that's how I thought that I could grow really, really fast. And like shotgun past some people who were more like skill based or had a specialty or a niche that they were focused on. Like if there was someone that did like foundation paper piecing or someone who did English paper piecing, that I might be able to go further than them in a short amount of time because there was that space. And this is like high level and I know it, but I would totally suggest you thinking about where you're going to enter the market as a business and what you can bring and then adjust your social media. And at that point, that's when I changed the look of my Instagram and I started focusing on other social media out there. So that was some additions to that. Let me see what's going on Facebook. Oh, thank you, Misty. You're sweet. There's only one me. So this question, yes. Hi, Katie. And I actually got the same question on YouTube about a blog. And I know we're talking about social media, but why it's relevant here is how I use my blog is it's the hub for everything. It's my primary hub. And that's what I control. And if like for some reason I'm hacked in Instagram or Facebook and it like all goes to like to poo, then I know that I can control my blog. So do I think that having a blog is important? And Hillary asked over on YouTube and on Facebook, I got the question also. Yes, I think a blog is critical. I think that I want to stay positive. I always want to be. I think that a lot of people don't quite know how to use their blog, and that's where the issue is. Not that I have it dialed down or dialed in, or I know I'm the perfect example of how to use a blog, but the fact that I have everyone going to my blog and I control it, and that's where I have a shop, and that's where I have my tutorials, and that's where I have links to other things. That's how I feel like a blog should be used, and it's not used that way by most people. It's kind of an afterthought, as opposed to being at the forefront. So, absolutely, I think it's important. It was probably the best decision that I made when I became a blogger, and that was when I had around 5,000 followers on Instagram. Hadn't really pushed my other social media yet. And through that, I was one, able to start partnering with companies, because a lot of them won't partner with you unless you have a blog, because they just need that. They need you to write the original content for them, and people will direct. And but it hasn't been, surprisingly. And someone asked how I got started with my blog. How I got started, and my friend Tara, if you know Tara of Lefty Needle, she's my sounding board for everything. She's one of my favorite people. I love her pieces. But in talking to her, she was like, just do it, just go for it, just go for it. What I had decided to do, because I posted, and I still do it, I post like progress shots on my Instagram, and how I convinced myself that it would be okay and it wouldn't take a lot of time for me to start my blog was that I just went into WordPress, got a free template, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use my pictures that I already posted on Instagram and use the captions that I already wrote, because my captions, I just write whatever's on my head at the time, and then sometimes throw in some emojis, and I would shift those over to my blog, and then everything would be great. And it has worked for me, and it was super duper easy. So essentially in the beginning, it was just cut and paste. So I like WordPress. I like the interactions of WordPress. I like how it works. If you know any other ones, put them in the comments. Those of you who have blogs, I'm having a brain fart at the moment, but if you know of any other blogs that you dig, if you're using a different platform for your blog, throw it in the comments so other people can see it and suggest it. Or if you've used any that you didn't like, then let me know. But I like WordPress. It's been fine for me. So thanks for that question. Let me see what's going on. Yeah, I saw that going on YouTube. I know. I don't know what happened there. It went crazy. And questions. You think I'm knowledgeable? Oh, thank you. Hi from, okay, I want, okay. Becky, you're asking this question. I'm not sure that it's about social media, but let me address it. I'd like to start some local sewing classes. I have a room to rent, but I'm unsure what is realistic to charge. What are some things to help me figure out this avenue? For renting, I don't know that, because I use spaces that are already done. Like I teach where there's already a space, and I'm not a part of that, but I would suggest, like, if you have a fabric store around, like, ask them, or if you know anyone else that does that, like a smaller shop that might rent out their room or what they think the value of. That's what I would do, and this would be an opportunity for you to network and to meet other people in the industry. So that's my advice for that. I wish I had more answer on that, but I've never done that myself, so I wouldn't be able to help. And how do you find my blog? Yeah, I have one, Terry. It's mrdomestic.net. Ta-da! Bringing people to my blog right now. MISTER spelled out domestic.net. Someone else has the com, and I'm not able to buy it from them. And I'm kind of salty about it. So, Chloe Collins, is there anything that you've done that you would do better? Oh, yeah. Everything. Honestly. That's my answer to that. There's nothing specific. And this is why I'm answering it this way, is because I feel like, and I don't know if y'all know my general philosophy on making things, is that I strive for 95% perfection in what I make. I don't strive for 100%. I think that the final 5% is what steals your joy. And I apply that to everything in business. And I think that the biggest barrier to resistance of anyone trying to move forward with anything, be it starting a blog, be it trying to network with companies, be it trying to create a business in crafting and sewing, is that you feel like you need to be perfect right out of the gate. And I don't feel that way. I feel that you set your own personal benchmark, which I do. Just get out there. Even if it's janky and ratchet and it doesn't look right, just do it and then see what the response is and then grow from that. So, like, every single part of my social media I've looked at, it's like where I was in the beginning to where I am now. It's like, like I look at it, I'm like, I don't laugh at myself, but it's just, I'm amazed that I was able to grow and get so much better so quickly. And that's what my advice would be for that question. Because I don't try to be perfect at anything. And I feel like if I continually get better at everything and try to get better, then that's a measurement of success for me, right? I don't want to go backwards. Like in this, I don't want my videos to get worse on YouTube. I want them to get better. I don't want my pictures and engagement in Instagram to get worse. I want it to get better. So absolutely. I'm the first to tell you that I mess up all the time and I do things wrong. And then I learn and I grow. The key is just not doing the same thing twice. I make mistake. Sometimes I'll do that. And like, life is short. Enjoy everything. Even enjoy like the mistakes and the flaws. Oh, thank you, Chloe. I'm glad you dug the answer. So let me go back to this. And then it's another question about growing followership, because that's what this is all about. And the question here is, how do you grow followership without compromising content quality? So my question to this question is, do you feel that I have, like me, and if you do, then let me know. Do you feel that my quality has lessened as I've grown? For me, I don't feel like it has. I feel like it's been pretty consistently good quality stuff, and it's gotten better. And how I was able to do this is that I knew what I was all about before I tried to start a business. And this is, once again, I would go back to the other ones. And for YouTube, I'll add a card here. Go to my previous live stream on business. Is that I know what my business philosophy is. I know what my mission is, which is to spread joy and positivity through sewing and fabric play. And that's my mission. And my vision is I want to be a thought leader. And everything goes there. Everything, those are my guiding principles per se. And as long as I was doing things consistent with that, then I felt like I wouldn't lose myself and I wouldn't lose the quality of what I put out there. So that's just advice especially with business. You don't want to like go aimlessly into it and not know what you're all about, because then you'll get lost and you'll get frustrated and you'll probably quit. Find out what you want to do with your business and then move forward, and who you want to be as a business person and then move forward. So hopefully that answered that question. Oh, thank you. I'm perfectly imperfect. You rock, Terry. Let's see what's going on here. Any questions? On YouTube. Okay. It is raining in Washington. And Tracy put on here, great, for Becky. Contact your local community center. They have rooms and are looking for programs to enrich the community, and that might be a good person to talk to. I don't know if you've made quilt patterns. This is Hinsmana. I don't know if you've made quilt patterns, but I know you have made patterns of other crafts. Is there a basic format to pattern creation to sell that you started with, or do I develop my own? So advice on pattern creation. This is outside of social media, but I'll still touch it a little bit. Creating patterns. Yeah, I use all Adobe programs. I use InDesign, and I created my own format in that. It's a great software for it. It's really easy to lay out things on there, and I would just go there. Or if you see pattern makers out there that are doing things right, in your opinion, then don't copy them, but let them be your guide and let them direct you there. And another one that is hey, Quilts and Coffee. I'm very new pattern designer, and I would love to meet more people in the industry. Do you think it's too early to attend Quilt Market? Is market useful for pattern writers? Okay, so after I've been to one, I am getting some tacky comments. Hey troll, welcome to the party, troll. And market is kind of scary. Like the first time I went to market, I was overwhelmed and it was a little much for me. And I promised myself that I wasn't going to go unless I had like a reason to be there because it was so overwhelming. And this next time I'm going to spring market because I have a fabric collection coming out and I have a booth. But if you go, I'm not going to say it's too soon. No, it's a great way to network. And it's a great way, especially if you're going to start a business, that's a great way to gain perspective on all of the different avenues that a business could go. I was floored when I saw how many different arenas of products and things and stuff. It blew my mind. I didn't realize it was so vast. So I would go just for the purpose of gaining perspective on that and to meet people. And it's a great way to go up. And if you go to market, come talk to me, come say hi. If there's anyone that you respect and you want to meet, go chat with them. We all are super duper nice and love helping people. So that would be my suggestion. If you're considering it and you want to start this as a business, go. It's great. It's great to have those in-person interactions because then you can create the start of a relationship that you could translate into the internet and social media and all of that jazz. So thanks for that question. That was a great one, actually. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, it wasn't funny. Yeah, I'm just for you who is writing the comments. You say you were a friend, but Mr. Domestic is a PG experience, and I found those comments to be counterproductive. So if you could delete them, that would be rad. I don't want any kids because I have a lot of kid followers that come on my social media. So if you can delete those, that would be awesome. And y'all don't go for this person. It's totally fine. So this is another question, and it's relevant to social media. A fledgling quilter. I don't think anyone is a fledgling quilter. If you decide to quilt, then you're a quilter. How do you go from being just an enthusiast to a pattern tester brand ambassador? Oh, see, this is actually a great way to start in social media to gain exposure. I'm actually going to do another one of these just on exposure and what to do with exposure because I feel that that's people are missing the opportunities with exposure. But what I would do if you want to become a pattern tester is I would just reach out to the people. I found Instagram to be the easiest way to reach out to people and just reach out, say, hey, I really like your style. I love what you're doing. Is there any way that I can test for you? And almost all pattern makers out there have a pattern tester list. And in that, I haven't looked at your social media to know this. If you're going to become a pattern tester, and if you're going to maximize your exposure, then make sure that your pictures are good. Make sure if you have a blog, that would be awesome. As many touch points and as many things as you can do would be great because if you're able to take an awesome picture and test, then you would probably get reposted by the pattern maker and that would gain followers and gain viewership and gain exposure. Whenever I started testing, I don't really test very often anymore, but I would ask them if they would repost for me. I get that out of the way, so I'm not like questioning it. I'm very direct on what I would want. Like I love testing, but it's like, my currency when what I was trying to do was to grow. I wanted to make sure that they would help me grow, and all of them said yes. There wasn't anyone that said no, but my pictures were bomb. So before you jump into wanting to test, I would just do that just to make sure that you could maximize your exposure. And a brand ambassador, that is all of my brand ambassadorships. They kind of just happened. And I think that was because I was clear on who I was as a business and what I put out there, and um, who Mr. Domestic was, and people wanted to become aligned to it. Super positive, joyful. I also would develop relationships with companies and pattern makers that I really liked. That would be my number one piece of advice. If there was one piece of advice that any of y'all leave here with, it's that social media creates an avenue, a direct line of content or contact to people that you respect and like in a way that we've never seen before. You wouldn't get that through telephone and mail, but through social media, you can say, hey, I really like your stuff. Is there any way that we can collaborate? Can I test for you? Is there any way that I can help? Are you open to a mentorship? Any of that kind of stuff. I'm just throwing ideas out there, but it creates an avenue for you to grow and develop and to not be scared. I love it when people ask. And it's created great partnerships for me when people have asked and reached out to me. So that's my number one piece of advice that I hope everyone leaves here with is to reach out, reach out, reach out, reach out. Especially if you want to create a business, you just need to. Okay. Hey, Lydia. Okay. Oh, see, this is kind of a social media, and this is okay, I really like this question, and this is going to allow me to speak on something that the dark side of social media. And Lydia's question: how do you deal with someone who has copied your design or comes up with one exactly like yours but tweaks it just the slightest bit? Thanks. Okay, so I don't know the situation you're dealing with, whether it is a copyright infringement or not, or with patterns that, to my understanding of copyright law, the only thing that you would have a case against if you haven't protected your design, which is almost impossible to do with any kind of quilting thing because they're just shapes. Like no one can own a shape. That if they've bought your pattern and they've used your words, then that is a copyright infringement. And if they haven't done that, then I don't know. I don't think that there's anything. It doesn't bother me. Like honestly, if it's direct, then I'll approach them. Hey, what's going on? But I just let it slide because I don't feel like anything has been violated. I think it's fair. I think no one's really doing anything original. And once again, I haven't seen your stuff, Lydia, or what you're speaking of. But I don't get upset by that because I don't feel like people necessarily are buying stuff. How do I say it? They're not buying stuff because of the pattern, essentially. I mean, it's part of it, but then part of it is because of my branding. And that's why they would buy it from you. And I don't feel like that person will be taking anything away from you. And that's how I approach it. And why I said that this is talking about the dark side of it is I've seen people get lost in this kind of stuff and ruin their brands. Regardless of whether you're in the side of right, I've seen people who are trying to start a business ruin their brands and ruin their reputation getting into a social media fight where everyone takes sides and people have blogged about it and it's gotten ugly. I've seen it way too many times that I personally never want to be a part of that. It's against my brand. So I just don't engage in it. I wouldn't. And so that's my advice, but that's just how I would operate in it. Once again, if you want to contact me offline, like after this or something, then I could maybe answer more directly, but that's just my general advice in this situation. If you're trying to start a business, don't engage in that because that's one way that social media can destroy anything that you're trying to build is if you act that way. And by that way, I mean engaging in arguments online. And that also would be a big way for you not to be a brand ambassador or move forward or anyone wanting to align with you because no one wants to that argument to tarnish their brand also. So that was a great question. And I wish that I knew more so I could answer more directly. So you said that you are really intentional about how you use your blog. What are the things you do daily or weekly to maximize it? Okay, once again, this goes to um, how I've integrated mine. Everything directs to my blog. So this is the order. Anytime I have a new project, I'll tell you the order of what I do. So I'll post my blog, and that's the first thing. And that's with the project that I've done. I do maybe one or two projects a week. I'll post my blog. At the time that I post my blog, and during that, I'll also put in like affiliate money kind of stuff, and I'll link to patterns or link to anything else. And then I'll post a picture on Instagram telling people to go to my blog. I'll post, usually when I write my blog, it goes directly to Facebook, my Facebook page, and people know to go to my blog there. And then I'll go to my live stories on Instagram, and I'll tell people to go to my blog. And then once I have one or two different blog posts, then I'll write an email or a newsletter out, and I'll tell people about one or two projects that I've done, and maybe throw something else in my newsletter. And that's how I use it. Is everything is about my blog. Go to my blog, go to my blog, go to my blog, just to gain more traffic. And anytime I write a blog post, and this is one thing, if you haven't started a mail list yet, that was a great piece of advice that I got from Jamie, one of my friends, Jamie. She said to start a mailing list. That my mailing list started to skyrocket whenever I put embedded signups in every single one of my posts, to where it just pops up having people sign up for my email, and do that in all of your blog posts. So that's how I use my blog. It's the beginning of the cycle to where I go all the way through to the newsletter being the end. So great question. I love it. Let me see what's going over on YouTube. This is fun. I hope y'all are having fun and getting stuff out of it. Dun, 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 dun. This is a funny off question. From Hinsmana. More importantly, do you think Trixie Mattel deserved the crown? If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's RuPaul's Drag Race. I mean, she won it. It's not about deserving. She just got it with the rules. And anyone who watches the show, just like here, it's not about who's the most popular or who wins in the end. It's what you do with it. And Shangela is going to be just fine. And this is Lori Anderson. Approximately how many hours a week do you usually dedicate towards growing your business? Oh, yeah. Great question. A lot. Well, okay. So for me, I'm lucky because I've created a brand of Mr. Domestic that's filled with joy and positivity. So I never don't have that. Every action that I do is going to be joyful. But before my business, I'm a maker. I like to make. This space that I've created for myself is about me creating awesome things. And luckily, there's just a business side to it too. So to sewing, I devote 2 hours a day, guaranteed, unless I'm traveling a lot. And I've been doing that for 4 or 5 years now. And it's just part of my life, and we all understand it. And my family, and I afford that to all the other members of my family for them to have guaranteed them time. The other aspects of it, like social media, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day I spend on it. Some of it's passive. I try to carve out intentional time with it that otherwise you could just be going back and forth all day long, and it becomes exhausting to have to keep track of it. So I don't post anything on social media unless I know that I've carved out time to engage. Otherwise I'll have to do it all day long. And then the other aspects, like blogs and stuff, I say maybe another 1 or 2 hours a week. So in total, maybe 3 hours a day, including sewing. It doesn't take a lot. I mean, but this is me. I've incrementally like added to it as I've gone what's okay with me. So that's what I do. But if you're trying to create a business, this is where it's like, I don't know your situation. If you're trying to create a business, if this is going to be your primary income, then you need to devote like 8 to 10 hours a day. Me, I have a day job, so this is extra for me. So that's what I'm able to afford to it, and then it's more on the weekends, depending on what I have going on or whether I'm teaching or presenting or anything. But that's not including like designing fabric. That's like a totally different thing. Depends on when the due date is and stuff. So one other question, Amity, how often do you suggest posting on social media? Okay. Um, 3 times a day on Instagram, 3 times a day on Facebook, once or twice a week on YouTube. Pinterest, I haven't nailed down. It's a totally different value proposition that I don't understand how to translate that into money. Um, but that's my advice there. It's a lot, but that will maximize all of the different time zones, because I know that I have people all over the world that follow me and are interested. So it's like I have to accommodate um, making sure that someone in England and someone in Australia, someone in Brazil, someone everywhere in all the different time zones will get it. So it's like I'll post one in the morning, try to post something in the afternoon, post something in the evening, and then make sure that I have time ready to engage. And that's what I do. It's a lot. It's a lot, but I've been doing that almost from the beginning, and um, I feel that that's a big part of why I've grown so fast, especially on the Instagram platform. One thing that I would suggest not doing, and I'm not gonna close now, but when I close, I'm gonna talk more about this, is that I feel that there are different value propositions in Facebook and in Instagram. Instagram, it's more like it's the picture. Your pictures need to be bomb. They need to be awesome. That's what it's all about. That's gonna get the attention. Um, and that I feel like it's all about me and helping others too. But that is y'all's opportunity to get to know me personally, to interact with me personally, more direct engagement, to know what's going on with me. I don't translate that onto Facebook. Facebook is not about that for me. Sometimes I'll post my projects, but Facebook, the value proposition there is more about creating a community and reposting other people's stuff, giving tips, creating interaction. It's more general for me there. And I have learned this by watching other people who have grown. Um, so let's go through all of the social medias real quick just to show you. These are some suggestions for people to watch that I watch, just to see what's going on. One, hands down, this is my opinion, the best person out there for creating a business in sewing and crafting and using social media is someone named Susie Quilts. The way that she uses her newsletter and her blog and what she does in social media and in Instagram, it's perfect. It's everything there is maximizing the algorithm, and she engages people, and it's about business. I would follow her and go watch her on Instagram. Me, I think I'm good on Instagram, so watch me. But her is someone on Instagram. I would watch her to see what she's doing. Facebook, Facebook is one I'm seeing growth in now. It took a while, but building a community takes time. That people to watch on Facebook. Go Kim. The Sewing Report. Girl with a Glue Gun. Those are people who I have learned how to use Facebook. And they're the ones that taught me that the value proposition is creating a community and it's not all about my projects. And then I created a Facebook group, which is a way for a more concentrated number of people in Facebook to like chat and do stuff. And I really like that. So those are the different value propositions. So it's different. This is where you have to decide what's important for you in social media and where you want to attack and try to grow, and then maybe focus on one. Like last year, I focused on Instagram, and then towards the end of the year, Facebook. This year, my focus is on YouTube, and that's how I've tackled it. But definitely go out there and find people who are doing it right, and you see growth, and you watch them, and you're like, wow. And then on YouTube, like for me, I have where I found my avenue on YouTube, I needed to see where I was. There, to me, in the sewing and crafting world, there's two veins of people. There are those that do like a high production value show. That's like Missouri Star, Man Sewing, Made Every Day. Those are three that beautiful. They have a team. It's great. I fit into the other category, which is more um, like you're in my room, you're in my sewing room. It's not high production value. Hopefully the tutorials and like the quality is good, but it's just a different feel. It's more less production and more like hanging out. And people that I follow that are doing that right, Crafty Gemini is the best at it. She's amazing. And she's up to her production value, but still, it's like it's very like personable. And oh, So Sweetness, Sarah Lawson, live streaming. Like we're doing live streaming now, but live streaming is it puts stuff further into the algorithm of stuff. And Sarah Lawson is like killing it in Facebook. I mean, in YouTube. She's doing it in Facebook too. But her growth has been crazy. And if you want to see how to do live streaming good and how to integrate that into your business, I would go subscribe. Don't leave now, but go subscribe to her and watch what she does because it's phenomenal. And I'll link to all of this in the comments and stuff so that you don't have to go back and watch it and all that. So hi. uh, do you? This is Humline. Do you have a fixed plan? Which social media medium do you feed with which content? Do I have a fixed plan? Kind of. But it depends on my day. I just know that I want something in the morning, in the afternoon, and the evening. But once it gets past 6 o'clock, I don't really do anything because then I won't have the energy and time to engage and stuff. So Terry wants to know why my sewing machine is named Felicia, and it's so that I can say bye to her every time that I leave. That's where the name came from. When it comes to Instagram, this is from Hillary, is it a good idea to integrate your business and personal life, or should they be kept separate? Okay, I addressed this in my previous video on business and crafting, but whenever you're trying to grow your business, I don't feel that you should have too much personal, because my feeling is if it's too personal, then it's gonna keep people from following you because they're not gonna understand it. They're gonna feel like they're not invited, and whereas if it's more business, then they feel like it's something that's approachable, that it's something that they can be a part of. And that's how I've operated mine, and it was through the advice of Pat Bravo. She told me the ratio of what to do. She suggested it, and I try to follow it, where I try to have 5 project business posts and then 1 personal, because that is a personal way for people to get to know you, and I don't want to take that away. And a lot of my captions are pretty personal and casual, so I feel like people get to know me there. But when people go to the Mr. Domestic Instagram, they know it's about Mr. Domestic and it's not about Matthew Boudreau, if that makes sense. So I don't feel like they should be too intertwined. No. And that's one advice that I give for people who are trying to grow on Instagram and build a business out of it, is that if you have too many pictures of your family and you have too many pictures of like your pets, then that's a deterrent from people following you. Especially if, like, let's say you post a bunch of cat pictures and someone doesn't like cats, immediately they're not going to like want to follow you. Whereas if you have 5 like bomb pictures about your business and then one of a cat, they'll be like, oh my God, this business is awesome, and maybe not look at the cat. So that's my opinion with Instagram on that. And let me go and see if there are any other questions. But yeah, I'm glad you agree. Here, and let me go to my page. I'm going to answer one more question from my page, and then I think I'll probably wrap up just so that I can keep this under an hour. And this is a question that Wednesday's Creation Studio asked me, and she asked, what are the benefits of Loop Team giveaways and how to set one up? If you're on, this is mainly on Instagram. I do some giveaways on Facebook and through my blog, but mostly like Instagram's where it's at because it's like immediate. That the benefits for me, why I do it, and I'm not fibbing here. Why I do giveaways so often is because I feel like I'm so lucky and I'm so grateful that of what has happened with Mr. Domestic that I get a lot of free stuff. Like honestly, I do. I have a lot of brand ambassadorships. I work with a lot of companies. I get a lot. And I am so grateful that I want to like pay it forward and give some of it away to other people. And so that's why I do it. That is my benefit of doing it. The superficial benefit of it is you gain followers too. But I'll tell you a little story that it's a funny story. Oh my gosh, Kate, you are the one that won this one too. That okay, how funny. That's so funny that she asked this question and she's the one that won it. So there was one time where my intention for doing a giveaway was not out of humility and was not trying to like express my gratitude to all of you. It was to gain followers. I was like, let me have like the biggest giveaway that you can do. I reached out to every brand that I was an ambassador for or worked for, asked for a prize. I think the prize was a total of like $500, $600. It was like amazing. Amazing. Like I'm kind of jelly that you have it, Kate, but I knew that I was going to gain thousands of followers. And that was my motivation for doing it. And I gained like 200. Whereas previously, I mean, I always track everything. I was averaging way more than that. And so I was like, oh, wow, that didn't work. And this is where it's like a life philosophy thing. And you could totally make fun of me for this. But I felt like I was off of who I was, that my intention was wrong for me. And then I shifted my intention back to it being for gratitude. And then I saw the results. Like I see what's happening. It's kind of a disconnect. It's like I see the growth and I see that it's pretty big growth in a lot of areas, but I feel like that's secondary to sharing my gratitude. And so that's who I am and that's what I want to focus on. And as long as I focus on being a good person, being nice, sharing information, being filled with gratitude, that good things happen. And so I just want to stay in line with that. But if you want to do a giveaway and you want to gain followers because of the giveaway, you need to make sure that your page is on fleek. I know you can make fun of me. You need to make sure that your content is awesome. Because if you gain a bunch of followers from your giveaway and your content is not awesome, and I haven't looked at your page, Kate, to recently to look at it, so it's not about your page. Don't go look at it. But if you don't have great content, then you're going to end up losing all of your followers, and it's not worth it because you want to use your giveaway as a way for people to find you. And they want to find you and then go look at your content and be like, oh my gosh, this content is amazing. What have I've been missing out? And then they stay. But if they just follow you for the giveaway and then unfollow you, it's not worth it, right? So that's my advice with giveaways there, if that makes sense. And then let me just one more time go. Then to close this off, I just wanted to share that social media is a great way to grow your business, and it should be used if you want to for that. Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to make contacts, to network, to get to know people. That's what it's for. But my closing statement on social media is, and it's a tangent. I fortunately have always behaved in a way where it's been social and interactive. I feel like it's called social media for a reason. It's a way to get to know people and be social. It's not like portfolio media where you just put it out there and then wait. That it's work. It's a lot of work to use social media to grow a business. It takes time and energy and getting to know people and being invested. And from the get go on Instagram, if you've been following me from the very beginning, I try to respond to all my comments because I don't see them as comments. I see them as people reaching out to me, wanting an interaction. And I want it too. We all want love and we all want to interact with people. So there is opportunity for everyone out there to grow their business via social media, but just make sure that you're willing to be social. Because if you're not going to see the benefits of it. So, yay! I hope that y'all got something out of this one. And if you have any questions or anything to add, make sure to throw them in the comments and I will answer them, or other people can answer them. And I'll probably do a couple more of this. I really enjoy these live streams and getting to chat with y'all and helping. So, yay! Keep it positive, y'all. Mr. Domestic out.